morning. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage on your side, your wisdom guided oracle, and we're having coffee. And this is another mug that I got in Ireland. This was actually a gift from my friend's daughter. And it's a lovely, lovely mug, good to hold and just adorable. Kind of old fashioned. It is quite heavy, but good morning. I have been up for a long time, thinking that has to do with jet lag, although I have good energy. Woke up about 2:30, finally got up around 3:30 and feel just great. This kind of thing will usually happen on a full moon, but we're not in a full moon. So how are you? How is this life treating you right now? What are you being prompted to do? This whole thing about gifts. I had a client respond to my ad in Grandmother Global Council's Network magazine this month. I was the featured grandmother, and I offered 10 spots to come in and have a 30-minute session with me. This woman showed up, and first thing she did was paid attention to the beautiful maple tree that's outside the front of my house, this lovely, lovely thing. And I knew immediately we were kindred spirits because she was so tuned into the tree. And then as we visited, it was, just the totality of this powerful woman that came into my presence that really just was looking for a little validation. And I've had this before, or help from powerful people spiritually, and have wondered often, it's like, why are you coming to me? But we had such a lovely conversation, and I believe the beginning of a new friendship, partnership, just a way we're going to move forward together, whatever that looks like. That was one of those knowings. We also identified we'd been here before together in those times of the Druids and probably others. But this woman, she just emanated. I could just see her on this huge throne and just all this light coming from her, and this incredibly divinely powerful soul that she was. So that was fun. And so today, Archangel Michael came through with the discussion, basically what he wanted to show us about our spiritual gifts. Why? Because it really is time for you to show up in yours, to start owning them, to learn more about them, to start living in them. And many of us, like this lovely woman yesterday, and I identified, many of us have been kind of afraid. There's this longing. We want to have spiritual gifts. We want to be using them, but we're afraid to tell people what we do know about ourselves, and really afraid to believe that we could have spiritual gifts. And so this is very much a topic that Archangel Michael wanted us to discuss. And so I got out 2 tarot decks, drew the cards that came up, looked them up because I'm not a tarot, and then was led to go, no, you're not going to use the cards today. It's like, and I could see how they could fit, but it was Michael wanting to come through with what he was showing me as the truth for us. And so first, let's talk a little bit about the spiritual gifts, the clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience, clairvoyance, and clairgustience. Good morning, Julia. Good morning, Suzanne. I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself in Ireland. I can't wait to go there next September. I know it's going to be epic. They always are epic, but this is definitely going to be something, especially after this trip and what happened with me on that trip, and the understandings and the knowings that have come through because of that, and this visual trip with Michael. But back to the spiritual gifts. Claircognizance is you get your understanding, you just know. It clunks in. I liken it to a gear that just fits in and clunks in, and I have that knowing. The clairsentience is the clear feeling. This way we walk. We all read energy, but clairsentience and empaths have their little energetic feelers going out all the time because that's how we get the information. Empaths, which most of us are, to some degree, but we can lock into that emotion and take it on as ours if we're not careful. Um, yes, Lou Jean, many of us understand kind of how we walk in the world, but maybe not have understood them as the spiritual gift that they are and how we can use them. I always thought my ability to read people and walk through the world was because of early neglect, abuse, and that so I was on high all the time. Well, I came in on high. That's what I've learned. But so that is my strongest gift, clairsentience. And I'm going to ask you all day long how you feel about things. Do you feel this? Well, what is this feeling? That's how you know a clairsentience. Claircognizant person is going to go, you know what I mean? I mean, I just know the things that are going to happen. They're going to know all day long. Clairaudience, clear hearing, is, do you hear what I say? Can you hear that? Is that they're going to ask you to hear things all day. And then the clairvoyant is going to ask you to see things. Clear visual, clear seeing. Do you see what I mean? Can you see that in your world? That's how people tell you what their gifts are, even when they don't know them. And the clairgustance is the smelling one. And I honestly don't know how they speak about what they get. We all have some of all of the gifts. There are usually one or two that are the strongest, the ones we use the most, the ones we navigate this world with. And you may already have a sense of what those gifts are. If you do, put them in the comments if you know what your gifts are. Now, why is it important to know? Because this is our navigational tool through this world, and it is the tool that we can trust to be true for us. We have to choose to be authentic in our everyday living and in our gifts, because they come through that much stronger, that much clearer, that much more identifiable. When we're in authenticity, the white lies don't sit well with us anymore. The resonance, and that's how you know what your gift is too, is how do these things resonate within you and your desire. What do you desire to do? Your gifts are woven into that. Your passion. What are your passions? That is where your path lies. Lovely Julia came to our May retreat, and I watched her through the retreat. Now, she is a professional photographer, and I would watch her think of things and she would look up. You could see she was looking at the pictures in her mind. She's visual. Clairvoyance is her gift, and she is strong in that. We don't often know what our gifts are, and yet we use them regularly. So the identifying of what your gift is, and then the open, willing, ready to be shown how we're already using it and how we can expand on using that to bring ourselves fully into this ever-changing world. Because us living in our gifts is huge for doing the shifting job that we came in to do. When I tuned in to what Michael wanted me to show or explain, was this road we're walking down. And we had, it's kind of green on either side, because I was just in Ireland, and their lanes, well, they call them lanes, and roads are quite narrow. And this road is quite narrow, but what he's showing me is that there are offshoots to this road. And at the end of this road is a very bright, shining, green, glowing growth space. And these offshoots aren't as bright and shining, but that doesn't mean they aren't for us to explore. They're just not our biggest gift. The one that you see that lights you up is your strongest way of connecting to your divine self, the universe, God, creator, the central sun, the great I am. It is that way that you walk the strongest. And so as you travel down this idea road of looking into your gifts, what is possible, who are you here, the one that is your strongest one will light up for you in a bigger way. So you walk down that lane. Again, You walk all of them, even though they're not very bright, because we each have all of these gifts. And in that, we get to utilize the power that we came in with. Any of you, all of you watching a video like this, are light workers, and you chose to come in at this time for this ever shifting, changing transformation that we are part of in this world. You owning your gifts and allowing the truth of who you are to come through is huge, because then your vibration raises. And the more you work with your gifts, the more powerful the vibration, the higher it is, and the stronger it becomes. And again, that means that the energy that you're sharing out into the world is stronger, is more powerful. Top of the morning to you too, Kim. It is more powerful and more effective. That is how we are stepping into this new earth. That is how the change is coming, one of us at a time. None of us have to do big, huge crowd things. We only need to do us. And that means exploring our gifts, identifying which is our strongest, open, willing, and ready to be led into how best to use them. What does that look like for you? Are you claircognizant? Are you clairsentient? Are you clairvoyant? Are you claircognizant? Clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairgustient, and clear hearing, and clear feeling. At any rate, the gifts we have came with us, and it's how we navigate the world. When you begin to really step into the ownership of your gifts is when you are standing in that divine power, no longer under the circumstances, no longer being pulled from pillar to post. You become the creator of your life in a greater way. We've always been doing it, but with your understanding of how you're doing it and that you are doing it regularly comes the power to fully step into your gifts, bring them into focus for yourself, and start creating through your gifts what you desire. So for me, I mean, I've known for a long time, very long time, that I was empathic. And only the last 10, 11 years did I understand the gifts and my clairsentience and how I've used that through my whole life and why. When you're willing to explore, Creator will bring to you all kinds of information that you need. And so I started receiving messages for my sister because she was in an incredible situation that I couldn't understand when I left, how she continued to live, because she had tried to step out of this life a few times. And where she was when I left was definitely grand rising to you, Jonathan. I miss you too. I was thinking about you this morning because I was talking about, in my head, I was talking about women and I went right to you and then went, no, what I'm talking about is divine feminine, not women per se, because we all have both our feminine and masculine qualities. But I digress. So I started getting these messages. In short, and I gave them, I sent them to my sister by text every day. And in 3 months, everything in her life had shifted. And I could see her really opening up to her power. And then she shut it down. And she could not believe because it seemed too much. I said to her, why did you quit texting me back with these responses that showed me she was really opening to her power? And she said, because I just felt like I was making things up, that I was just being stupid. And that was the lies we have learned, because there's only a few ways Creator talks to us. And most of the times it's in our minds, in our imagination. And then we go, I just made that up. It's like, well, true. But we made it up with input. I have never had a burning bush talk to me. I've never had figurines speak to me. It has come into my mind, and it is the you trusting that you can get the things you need from God, Creator of the universe, when you need them. You choose to believe you have that ability. And then whatever your gift, your strongest one is the one you're most drawn to. in all of these gifts we talked about. And then open, willing, ready to be guided in utilizing this gift, expanding it, growing it. And it is not hard, especially when you invite your power team in and you work to keep your vibration raised at all times. The pure love and joy tool, the gratitude practice, doing an energy routine to rebalance yourself on a regular basis. When I was in Ireland, we went to Baymore Stone circles, and the experience I had there was it was earth shaking with me. And I wanted not to believe it at the beginning. It was like, no, that really isn't really true, is it? And it just kept coming. The history that I'd had there, what had happened, and how I felt. I had to visit every stone in these stone circles because they were representative, because the spirits of who I had lived with in that time were there with me and offering me grace and offering me forgiveness. And the longing that I felt to stay there was incredible. I didn't want to leave them. It felt like I was coming home. And so, these are the things. If you're attracted to the retreat in Ireland, September of 2026, start digging into what it is that's attracting you. It is likely soul fragments that you left that are calling you back. And so in this, I recalled many soul fragments. And then I was just very out of kilter for a while because I was imbalanced in my soul self and I had to let them integrate. I am still integrating them. But it's so awesome to realize there's a reason for how we feel about things. Again, I'm the clairsentient. I'm going to say feel. There's a reason to how we know things, how we see things. And they're not going to be the same as everybody else because you're not the same and you don't want to be. And so there's a lot of fear. This woman I was talking to yesterday around coming out, telling people what we do because of the persecutions we have had in past lives. That lifetime was a lifetime of persecution, but the persecution came from myself in that I could not do what I felt my responsibility was, which is to save my people, the Druids. I couldn't do it. I knew what was coming and I couldn't stop it. And so this self-unforgiveness was so big in me. And of course, the grief, which is an emotion I've carried on many different levels. So the releasing, the choosing to let go, incorporate those soul fragments that I'd left there and beginning to be more fully who I came to be this lifetime. You are that and more. We're not the same. You're not going to have the same experiences, but what you desire desires you for a reason, for your soul purpose. A great question to ask, whatever comes forward for you, is what has this to do with my divine purpose here? Jonathan says, yes, I've been needing to rebalance and clear my energy much more often lately, like multiple times a day. Absolutely, Jonathan. It's like waking up going, whew, who am I? Who am I today? Where am I? And just not even, we're working a lot at night and we're being shifted. The whole world is. The uprisings that are happening are because of this shift. And it has to happen. What's going to happen are small communities coming together to support one another. I saw this Facebook article today about this veteran who was mistreated in Walmart and what this group of people did to change that situation. It was a small group coming together to rectify what had happened, to make the company change it, to make the company have responsibility for it and all of that. It was it was like 300 bikers that made that difference because they were veteran bikers. And this veteran had founded this organization so many years before, and he was 89 now, and had been shamed and embarrassed by a Walmart employee. And when one went to help him, a young 17-year-old girl, she was told by her boss to get back behind her register or she would be fired. And so the bikers took it in hand and they just peacefully stood and blocked it and then made their demands of Walmart. So here is the truth also about all of these stories you're seeing. Take them through your gut. The more you work on your own spiritual gifts and start using them, the stronger your knowingness of what is true and what is not true. And you want to vet everything. And if you don't have a great trust in your gut, go to Google and start Googling, is this a scam? Is this true? Find out, because there's so much false stuff out there right now. But if you really start tuning in and trusting your spiritual divine aspects, you will know what is in resonance and what is in dissonance within you, and begin to trust that. It is imperative that we really learn to trust our divine selves now. We own the power that we have as divine beings here. Even though we're humans and we're going to make mistakes, we're going to say things that we shouldn't have said, we're going to do things that we shouldn't have done. It is also imperative that you own it. You go back, you make whatever retribution you can, you fix it in whatever way you can that resonates with you, what you have to do. How anybody else deals with that isn't your circus, not your monkeys. It is for you to deal with it and for you to take things as they come for you. So very much an empowered message from Archangel Michael, who is the warrior angel, who is so there for any of us who needs his strength, his protection, his laser sharp sword, his divine dragon breath to clear things out. You can call on all of them because he's willing. And then be sure to offer your gratitude for all the spirits and beings that choose to help us in this lifetime. And you will continue to vibrate higher, which means you're sharing more positive energy and less negative, fearful energy. And that means the darkness, those dark ones, the dominators, have less and less control over us. When we understand that we are choosing, creating, and being in this world by our divine energetic power. Lovely, Julia. Yes, it does. So I didn't raise them with now and how I do this. And so, they've rolled their eyes at the things that mom says. And yet they will both tell friends and coworkers that, oh, you ought to meet my mom, or my mom might want to, could help you with that. And so, and it really was something I couldn't really say to them because of judgment. And, they're the most important people in the world to me. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. And that was what my mind said this fear was about. But the understanding is that it is the persecution from past lives that have caused us to fear, because that is a form of persecution, them going, oh my God, mom's crazy. And so we will hold ourselves back, but it is because of the past persecutions that we have done that. So integrate this, bring it into you, balance your energy, be open, willing, and ready to be given insights, and they will come from all different sources. And then post here what you think your divine gift, strongest one, is, and be willing to open up to more possibilities. I think we're complete for this beautiful Friday, the last one in August, and moving towards fall, towards more changes, more growth, more positivity. And that's what you want to focus on. Thanks for joining me. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle. Until we meet again. Oh, Jonathan, yes, it took a lot of time and courage for him to tell his Christian Baptist-centered family that I'm a shaman. That is lovely, lovely. I also partly was raised Baptist. Before 9, I went to many different churches, so I never had the one and done. There was only one way. And so that's the hard part, that core group in our family. But remember, the Bible said, a prophet is not recognized in his own village. And it is okay that our family doesn't subscribe to us being who we are. We just keep loving. We just keep accepting them for who they are. And it falls into place. So thank you. Love you all too. Have a great weekend.